Hey guys, welcome back to the Bass Cave. On this episode of Project Nitro Z6, we're going to be answering some of you guys' questions that have commented on some of the installs and whatnot that we've done. Probably the two biggest questions that I've gotten and I'll be covering in this video. One, how do you like the live foot? And I'll be talking about that, as well as the second biggest is just a run through of how everything's been hooked up as far as my electronics and everything. So I've had a few months now. I'm ready to do that video for you guys. So if that interests you, stay tuned. Okay, we're gonna start at the back of the boat and work our way forward and around, and I'll show you. I went ahead and mounted my transducer for my dash graph here. I know a lot of people will mount them up here, but I went down on this portion. As you can see how everything is installed there. I've ran this now for months, no issues. I can read at speed and I don't lose signal. So everything has been very well. On that, a lot of times if you have it mounted up here, when you get on plane, you kind of lose that signal. So it being down here, always in the water, has worked out really well for me. Really nicely done here. Just ran that inside here. Now, when I first got the boat, it came with the traditional 12-volt battery. We went ahead and changed that out for a Dakota Lithium 135 amp hour dual purpose cranking lithium. I went ahead and did my own wiring harness for everything that is for the electronics. Have it on a disconnect here and its own breaker here, so I can cut all the electronics off from here. This goes around. Again, the wiring harness is all bundled up here, tucked out of the way. When I did this, I gave myself an extra, I think, 3 feet. That way, if I do change boats, I can use the same harness. I can take this off and not have to do another harness. So that's all run. As you can see, the white goes up there, it goes around, and then it comes up here to the console, its own little sub panel, just tucked here. Okay, all my units all then tie into this, and I didn't feel like it was necessary to actually secure it to the side. It just kind of rides there just like that without any issues. This is easy to get to, and I have extra channels that I can tie in other things later, like maybe some LEDs, and I can then put those switches for that up here. So easy to get to. From this panel, it goes back out and then goes up to the front compartment here. We'll look at that. I am running the 126 SV, the 12-inch here at the console. Okay, from the panel, everything runs up underneath here. And here is my black box and stuff for my live scope, and also where the harness goes to tie in for the graphs at the front. So that's all there. I didn't feel, again, like it was necessary to mount that up here. There's not a whole lot of room to do that, and it just rides like that. I have a little storage bin that I put in here that fills this area, and it doesn't ride up. It's perfectly fine right there, just like that. Okay, let's take a look at what I've got going on here at the bow. First off, I'll point out, here's my foot controls for my live foot. I decided after plenty of time to kind of play around and decide where I actually wanted to permanently mount that. That's kind of where I came up with. Right here, it's been about the most user-friendly position to fish and to use my foot to change the directions of the live foot. So I like it right there. It really works out for me. So let's take a look at these graphs. When I first did this, if you guys haven't seen the video, I did the 10 up top and the 12 down, and it was more centered. But after, again, a couple of months now and multiple fishing trips, this is kind of the way I decided to leave it. I went ahead and put the 12 up top. That's dedicated primarily for the live scope. And then I've got the 10 down here, which oftentimes I'll just use for mapping, or I'll divide it up and I'll do down imaging and then mapping on one side with my menu for my trolling motor up top here. And that's worked out really well. Again, I did the video on this mount. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. I've since, again, connected everything, did all the wiring, and this is how I've run that. As you can see, I just put a grommet here, and for each unit's wires, just kind of hooked it up like this, real clean, tucked away. I did run these wires through this portion of the cutout that I did for the mount. For this one here, I did do a cutout up in here, but I didn't actually need that, so we just did it this way, and that's really nice and clean. These grommets, you can get them off of Amazon. They work out really nice. Again, I'm running the Garmin Force trolling motor. This thing has been really great. I'm telling you that most often I have to keep it cranked down to about half power because it's just so much torque. I mean, it really moves this boat. One of the things about the foot pedal I'll point out, I did secure it. I actually put screws in the foot pedal to where it does not move. So my foot's on it, it doesn't slide forward, it doesn't bounce out of this tray or anything. So it's a lot more stable. And you know, when I had done this, I was hoping that you know, I was going to find a way to offset this enough to where I could lay the live foot down as to store it and have a factory cover. Well, that didn't work out, but I did solve that problem. I went and had a custom cover made. So here's a little footage of how that looks. Everything fits really snug. It's designed to where you don't need to have any poles. It's very low profile, which you know is better for wind resistance when trailering. When towing. He did plenty of straps here, as you can see, very nicely done. He did kind of bring it down a little bit further. This canvas that he used is pretty much waterproof, so even if it were to water to sit, it would eventually start to run off. Very nice, very heavy duty canvas. If I did add some power poles, I still have that room here without it affecting the cover. He uses a nylon rope here to secure it. Now I can come back and put a rope ratchet on this, which will make it a little bit easier to secure it, but this is great. Very nicely done, low profile. Again, the additional straps here. And he put these things on here to where I could buckle it here and here, so I wouldn't have to run it up underneath and all that stuff. So that turned out really good. Covers are invaluable, in my opinion, for protecting all your gear and just keeping it waterproof. If you need to put it outside for a night or two and you're worried about it raining. Very nicely done. Very pleased with that. Let's talk about this live foot for a minute. We're still running it. It's on here because it's fantastic. I really like it. It's doing absolutely everything that I was hoping for.
All right. Woo. This is light work. Come on, spill the tea. Yeah. Ooh. All right. Woo. This is light work. Come on, spill the tea. Yeah. Ooh. All right. Woo. This is light work. Come on, spill the tea. Yeah. Ooh. All right. Woo. This is light work. Come on, spill the tea. Yeah.
Got him. Wacky his ass. The old wacky. Nice one. I'll speak for its durability as well as it's inevitable. You're going to hit stumps, you're going to hit something. Well, I've hit some doozies going at a pretty good pace, and with this trolling motor, it's kind of unforgiving because of so much torque it's got. And I have hit some things with it. Probably the worst thing that I've hit was one stump, and it did kind of knock it out of alignment. And luckily, it was kind of towards the end of the day of fishing, so you know, it didn't really compromise the day. When I got home, I actually had to redeploy it and then just kind of realign and retighten everything. It's running and working just as great as the day I got it. Now this portion here, I'll tell you, this came with a knob that was kind of glued in on this portion right here. That has popped off and it's gone, but if you lose this knob, it's not a big deal because you have the Allen key there anyway that you can tighten. And I keep an extra Allen wrench on the boat in case I have to make any adjustments to anything. So it's been working out fantastic. I highly recommend it if you're looking for something other than a pole or something other than just on the trolling motor itself. Back on the trolling motor, I'll go ahead and show you what it's running off of. We've got 2 of the Lithium 100 amp hour lithium batteries. So all my batteries are tied in to the GenPro 10.3 here to charge, and usually it only takes about 3 hours and I can fully charge all this stuff from, you know, no matter how much I've been using everything. Just wanted to point out here on these trolling motor batteries that it does have its own circuit breaker as well. 2 100 amp hour Lithium. This is off brand, but I'm here to tell you it's been working fantastic for me, and I've never run out of juice or never even come close to running out of juice with these two. That's my experience. I'm being dead honest with you. That's where I'm at so far with those. Now, I'll tell you too that when I installed looking back again at this Dakota over here, when I installed that Dakota and tied it into the charger, each one of these channels actually has its own on and off switch, and to set it to lithiums. Well, when I installed that Dakota battery, I did not have this on. I literally went 6 trips with running everything before I realized that it was not charging. So that's a testament to this battery over here. 6 full-on days, and I didn't even know it because, again, I was cranking, my graphs were working, everything was working, and I just happened to clean this out, this bin out for a co-angler, looked at that and realized that, hey, wait a minute, this is not even on. And so that's been since corrected. But you know, 135 amp hour battery that's dual purpose, and I ran everything and cranked everything on 6 separate fishing trips. So, you know, if you're thinking about, well, how much do I actually need? How many amp hours do I actually need? Which is a big question. A lot of people seem to really concern themselves with that. Is, hey, I'm here to tell you, I went multiple days on 135 amp hours, and yet some people are like wanting to max out like 200 amp hours. You want to do a setup like this, 3 graphs, cranking battery, everything running off of just one 135 amp hour battery, no problems. Again, you know, I did my own wiring harness. It's working great. I use 10 gauge copper 10 wire, make all good connections. I heat shrink, I do all that stuff. So, you know, there's some questions as to, you know, do you need 8 gauge? Do you need, you know, these heavier wires? Hey, I guess it doesn't hurt if that's what you're concerned with, go for it. But I've not had any problems with 10 gauge. I have crystal clear image. Again, it's my own wiring harness. I don't have, what are these C-clear harnesses that, you know, people pay hundreds of dollars for. So, I mean, it is what it is, but I'm telling you, this is based on my own boat, my own experience. It's just not necessary. I know that's not going to be popular, but that's my experience. I hope that this has answered some of you guys' questions. Many months, many trips out. Everything's been running fantastic. I'm really thoroughly enjoying this boat. If you have any more questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and maybe I'll follow up again with another video, but that's kind of where things are at right now. Again, thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
You ready?